control the volume on that. Anyway, welcome to MUSA, or Music Subject Area. You can see there's abbreviation everywhere. It's just something that gets used to university systems. Refers to the Music Subject Area, which is us, all of us, the staff, the students, on any course associated with the music subject here in Falmouth. As well as we also have students and staff with partnership programs in different universities. We obviously will normally encounter each other here across different year groups and different courses. So I believe most of you, not everyone's been earlier introduction. If not, I'm Dr. Antti, Saario, Head of Music of Head of the Music Subject Area. And my job is to make sure the currency and the value of the courses, the day-to-day running. I have a team of staff that will introduce you here briefly. I'm not expecting you to remember all the names, but to try and give you a picture of the range of people you will be working with. And most staff will be working with you independent of whichever course you are on. Anyway, I've got sidetracked already. This is something that you will learn of me the more you spend time with me. Linearity isn't my best forte, so I tend to go tangential quite often, but the life story will help. So, quality of programs, the currency of the programs, their relevancy to the music industry. They're only relevant to the institute for the university if they are relevant to the music industry or the cultural industries or some other industries at large. When I say industries, you have to populate them with images from underground art scenes to mainstream and everything beyond, and if they are relevant to you. And that relevancy will come from engagement. It isn't, oh, I joined it, I paid my gym membership, 9k a year, I expect X, Y, and Z, now someone make me fit. The kit is here, the personal trainers are here, the fitness programs are here. Now's the time to about, oh, I need to engage with those facilities. However, I'm not talking about the way to become what you want to become and achieve the results you want to do in music, sound, whatever it is you're looking to do. It's not lifting weights. It's not sweating it out. There will be hard work, but it needs to be also smart work, sensitive work. Because the art form that we are all doing, I'm going to refer to as art form, and you again need to identify how it relates to you, is one of nuances, sensitivity, understanding context, etc. It's beautiful, it's amazing. But yeah, it can be tough, etc. But I'm going to give a bit of an introduction to the music subject area. But I'm going to keep this on nuts and bolts quite low down, more about trying to give you some hopefully exciting values of things to think about. With the quote here, maybe the first quote you've encountered so far in Falmouth, together in our different rhythms. And I'm quoting a very famous free improviser called Matty Nichols, sort of first generation of so-called European free improvisation music wave. And she regularly used to come to Falmouth on workshops, etc. And she often talked about we are together in our different rhythms. And I'm totally sampling her here, and I will bring it into the message that I would like to pass on to you. Hopefully during this session, that will start to make more sense. Now we have a picture of, what do we have a picture of here? A torus? Can you explain what a torus is?
Donuts?
Okay, donut, we get a donut, but what else it could be? We got a wheat field, we get a sunrise or sunset, don't know. Depends on the glass half empty, which way looking. What else other than a donut could the top be?
A vortex?
It could be like a black hole or a so the event horizon point of time and space and our knowledge and understanding and comprehension of all these physical and what are seen and exist in paradoxical ways in contemporary physics. I came from a music course. So, whatever I'll be saying here today is for the benefit of these things. And the whole course that you're on, the whole subject area of the institute is about for the benefit of these things. Your study, your learning, your development, because that's what it's about. It's about development. And it could be big shifts, it could be micro-inflictions. I've already got certain skills I'm wanting to fine-tune that. Or it could be a big shift, like I said, growth, expression, and future. And it's very useful to be thinking about it all the time as you're going along through this study period, all this time and this space, the journey you want. And I'll be talking about the really big picture here, like bigger than the timetable for the year, etc., which you'll be looking at the course but also proposition. If and when things start to feel like there's turbulence, which normally is because we want to have sight of the big picture. Why am I here? Why do I want to be here? What is this about? Etc. What produces the value for me? So this is my second proposition. Think about holistic value production for you of every experience, every thought, every action, every inaction that you do in relation to study of music. So, welcome to here and now. Anyone recognize the piece of music that was playing? You ready?
Well, okay, the time is now.
Thank you. Pretends to be a very poor musical joke, but there we go. What's this? Like a space. What kind of space?
Galaxy.
Like a galaxy. What else? Someone else said something? Space, galaxy.
Milky Way.
Milky Way, particularly the eighth. Yes, thank you. We know. We are somewhere here. That's us. People sometimes say outer space. Funny thing about outer space is like it's somehow out there. When we took this picture, wasn't talking of device, we are out there. In fact, we are in outer space. On a kind of rock type structure. I can't remember how many thousand miles we go per second. If we were to stop, we would be squashed instantaneously against one of these walls or floors. Well, anyway, we take that for granted. But we are actually in outer space. We know a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff we don't know. For example, this is infinite space, which is argued currently, is it expanding, is it contracting, etc. Why I'm talking about this is, in this outer space, this space here, let's call it inner space if you like, even though we are in outer space, there's also space between us. Something connected. It looks empty, it isn't. Without getting too much into popular physics, dark matter, etc., but even here, the space between me and every single one of you isn't empty. There's actually matter there that permits what to happen?
Communication.
Communication, it's just to feel that sound. Jos mä rupean puhumaan suomea nyt esimerkiksi, teillä on mitään käsitystä mistä mä voin sanoa, että tässä on niin monta miestä naiset tyttöä, mitä tahansa tehdään musiikkia. Okay, if I switch to my native tongue and Finnish, unless anyone happened to be fluent or understand some of that, you had no idea what I'm saying, but you still felt it. When I speak, or this humming sound of the projector, or don't want to do too close to your head, you feel I'm touching a very sensitive part of your body, in your ear. We're creating pressure waves that are effectively detected by your ear mechanism, which actually is an interesting combination of analog and digital technology we like, and you experience it. So please don't quote me out of place that, oh, the man from a foreign country that I've forgotten by now, I think someone in Europe was touching me in the very first session with his voice. Okay, why am I talking about this? Isn't it quite something? We are floating or traversing in outer space, and every single one of us here has had what I would say a life-changing experience to do with sound or music that made you decide, no, I'm not doing geography, or I'm not doing accounting, or I'm not doing this or the other, or whatever. I've done that, and I'm choosing to. You are choosing to pursue the artistry of connecting with people, literally touching people with sound, one way or another, whether you like it or not. But that is how it physically actually happens. There's this corporeality that's present here immediately. But we are not here just because, oh wow, sound connects, I'm going to go to university. Maybe some of you are. It's more likely there's been an emotive thing going, it was the worst thing in my life, and then I heard that track. It was as if they spoke to me. All that feeling. I can't handle any of this, but I'm performing my song, and I connected to those people who were there. Whether they were 2, 3, 10, 1,000, doesn't matter, but you have that connection. And you then go, this is what I'm looking to pursue. I genuinely believe where we are in the world, this is an amazing privilege and an amazing opportunity. It's come with amazing challenges and opportunities, etc., and presents to us. And in terms of what is available to us in terms of technologies, access to thinking, knowledge, etc., probably there's probably never been a better time to be engaged in music and sound practices and study them and look at pursuing some kind of what I would call sustainable career. Basically, be able to do the thing that you're passionate about as long as you want to be doing it. And the reason I know you're passionate about it because probably 90% of you, that's the first sentence in the UCAS application form. I'm passionate about sound, or I'm passionate about music. And that's really important. And it's different from I like this on Facebook, or I love ice cream. I love ice cream very different than I love music. And if ice cream gets difficult, I leave it. If music gets difficult, that's the quote. Second quote of the Tikkun journey. 2004 article, chapter by person called Drew Herring wrote about affect and individualism in popular electronic music. It doesn't actually matter what the article in the larger sense was. You might think, well, I'm not doing popular music. It doesn't matter. Message, I think, is a proposition to the kind of the worldview that I'm depicting here in the larger sense. When we see music as an affect, as an intensity that carries an ability to affect and be affected. And similarly, what if we are these things that someone decided to talk to you also the stuff that basically sense these intensities because hey, everything in the universe as far as we can detect is in vibrations. And those vibrations can affect us and we can affect those vibrations. So therefore we're fundamentally connected with the art form and practice we're looking to do everything. And you, as an artist, can really be doing powerful things. Just some thoughts there. And if we then go to go bring a bit more theory here, it's the first thing I'm trying to cover like this, but normally I don't. I'm going to quote a writer, her name is Anna Wang Jin from China, and she talks about how effective listening, that is affect, suggests a relationship. It's like feeding into an energy of one's sonic surroundings to be affected by intensities, forces, and flows of sound. She's drawing from a depiction of the Chinese sound artist who's talking about a flower that would exist in water, like a water plant. That is, everything is to do with that, its relationship to the water. Similarly, everything that we are doing in our practices, however musical or extra musical, people will speak, might be, is to do with that. How is all our interactions and all our listenings, they can actually feed into, if we imagine ourselves to be these sound plants, how we grow. Which also fundamentally connects every single one of us here in the room in our own journeys, as though as our collective being here together. And it doesn't have to be, I don't have to like and agree with everything that everyone does and all that. It's not about that. It's a different kind of relationship. But it is one where I've really proposed an idea. If we actually first and foremost in our practices do the most important thing there is, which is listen. Going to do, and listen up, stop, and listen. Am I listening to the nervousness in me, nervousness in the room? Do I allow the other spaces, voices to emerge in our collaborative session or in our studio session? When I'm writing my string quartet, am I listening to the tone of the cello? What does the tone of the cello want to do? Not just what do I perhaps try and impose it to do, for example. Anyway, I'm trying to keep the sense that, there's something about perhaps certain set of values start to emerge. And these are values I'm hoping that you have in your mind when you go about your journey through this time and space of studying and life in general, but particularly in relation to one, present. Can't hear anything if I'm not present. That doesn't mean I'm in space, but that's a good starting point. I'm going to strike up slightly different, go a different way. Very large study of Australasian university conducted about a decade ago tens of thousands of students' profiles were analysed, and there's very clear findings. Those who engaged in sessions as it went there, those who looked at what's on the learning environment, and those who engaged with all the learning, typically in the daylight hours, there's a direct, correct, positive correlation between their grade. If you're present, if you get on with the tasks, they do produce results. It's like the practical tables program. But the other presence is, I can be present physically, but just get on with my thing and rail or everything else. Am I present in the biggest sense of understanding the dynamic of the matrix learning? We've spoken about affect, which I really think calls for awareness, calls for this listening that we talk about, which by default starts to give us a sense of what is the environment that we are operating in. And this environment that you're in here, it's for you. This is your remark zone. And the bigger area is your Falmouth, your Penrith, as part of your music making practice and your music career and your life. Which, depending on what one believes or doesn't, but there's a lot of bets on, is certainly the only one that we can remember right now. And all our actions will interact with that environment, whether it is the environment that we think about the outside environment, or how did I leave that studio when I left? Did I treat the space with respect so that someone else can engage with it? We talk a lot about the C word during the retreat, one of context. We said that different contexts have different qualities and how they start to affect and affect something. A great bass line or bass tone in a dub reggae track is not a great bass tone in a techno track or a classical string quartet or something else. But making a silly example here. You are experts in contextual practice by thinking about, what if I pause a little bit before I sing the next song, or I change tempo, tone, something, and it all affects the whole. The Mason community, I'm calling for the sense of honor and respect, not just each other, but you here. You're in outer space, you're falling off an airplane. Whenever you were born, we count back, I don't know what the time is, and we're not climbing back up. This is your chance to do something with it, to take ownership of it, and make those moments last, matter, etc. How are we doing? Good. Okay. Trying one other thing which I never told anyone at year one sessions before, but introduce a concept of hexaity. What? Hexaity. I'm going to have to read out. I'm quoting here people with nothing to do directly with music. These are philosophers are thinking about relationships of things. But this might resonate with things that I've said, things that you experience, or might not. By the way, anything any of us offer, if it resonates, use it. If it doesn't, play with it, and still doesn't, leave it. Toolkit, ideas, opportunities, and things. It's not about wrong. There is a mode of individuation very different from that of the person, subject, thing, or a substance. We reserve the name hexaity for it. A season, a winter, a summer, an hour, a date have a perfect individuality lacking nothing. Even though this individuality is different from that of the thing or a subject, they are hexacies in the sense that they consist entirely of relationship or movement and rest between molecules or particles, capacities to affect and be affected. What if a degree is hexaity? What if a Motown is hexaity? What if music industry is such that it's all about those qualities that we can experience and we can appreciate and tune into? Oh, hello. Sexy stormtroopers, yeah? Nice aesthetic, straight lines, similarity. Makes me think of some techno tracks. Hit it on, let's just keep on going. But why am I showing this? Because the aesthetic side of this, we are not looking to produce foam. Not interested in you becoming me, becoming someone else, becoming something else. That doesn't mean that we can't be influenced by, oh, my favorite, let's say classic guitar plays, so and so, or whatever it is. But it's about something else than trying to replicate. So when we are doing repetition or exploring, it's not one for the notion of we are interested in producing this mass of stormtroopers to go out into the world to do more music. Because guess what? The world isn't short of people who can play guitar or sing or compose, or that is already out there. It is something else that has to go together, and in addition to that, and one needs to find a relationship with it. So continue my space themes and politics to anyone who doesn't know Star Wars, or is not interested in Star Wars, that it will end after this session. So here we get Darth Vader. For those who haven't seen the film, he's going, Luke, you are my son. Again, we are not trying to create some kind of a power hierarchy in the sense that you have to use this idea and create something of lineage of Falmouth, whereby there are masters delivering to you, and you can only tend towards that, and there's some kind of ownership. No, we are here to challenge you, push you, help create that space journey, finding some new galaxies none of us even knew about where there. So, my message to that is, sorry, Dad, I'm with the rebel one. Oh, whoa, okay. Interestingly, everyone said, well, what's Star Wars? Never seen any bands or music happening in the Death Star, clues in the name perhaps. Not even techno, even though you think. Because techno, no, I don't. I've done my time in Germany, techno project, etc. I'm just using as an easy example of something that fits the aesthetic I have. So these are actually pictures from some other Star Wars films, some really peculiar looking, different kinds of examples. And if I would be a better at Photoshop or quicker, I would have copied some stormtrooper heads into these as well. Because we are not excluding the stormtroopers to be part of this band. What I'm trying to get a sense of, that celebration of, oh yeah, wow. The power is in the difference of the ideas that come together. Sound waves, the power isn't that something remains in the positive plus or negative zero, negative one. The power of the sound wave is changing between two different polarities. How fundamentally amazing that is. Most sounds are not pure and simple, they are complex waveforms with complex relationships. We have in different cultures in different ways tried to control them or decide that certain things are okay. I leave you to make some decisions. Hence back to together in our different rhythms. Well, another thing about this is what easily happens. You might have done music before on your own and then been looking for a need to find a community, or you might have been at a college or school or wherever, and there might be 3 of you in the music class, or maybe there's 20 or 2 normally, they're quite small classes, and then suddenly there's a bigger don't worry about anyone else's thing where they are at. Beyond actually, of course, caring that you are together with them, and if it looks like someone has fallen down, we care. The important thing is not to look at, ooh, I seem to be behind, I seem to know less about this thing than that person. Doesn't matter. See the community as not some kind of thing that, oh, I'm having to fight my own self-worth against. The community is the ballast. You are here because we selected you after interviewing every single one of you. You're here. Use that ballast. And the second thing, not everyone wanting the same tempo. And during your time, it's not going to go. It's not going to go like some easy ride from here to any degree, and then I'm going to get employed, etc. But there'll be a lot of difficult things, difficult days, difficult weeks, difficult months, etc. Doesn't matter, because that's how it works. If we pretend something else, we are literally going against the cosmos in the larger sense. If you think that your perfect world isn't affected by entropy and challenges and turbulence, etc. So it's okay that, whoa, actually, I seem like I'm way behind. And it could be because I got hit by a bus and I'm in a test and I can't actually do much. Fine. We're going to figure out there are ways to catch up and there's ways to do things. So, okay. what I am interested in personally in a professional capacity, because I am here as a professional capacity, I don't personally care if you don't come to any sessions. Kind of lying, but anyway, my professional face get, well, okay, I'm not going to go, oh no, Billy and Tilly didn't come to my lessons, so it must be terrible. If you don't come or go, that's your game. We will hardly be chasing you with attendance monitoring, etc. But however, my professional thing, I am here, I am your English bull terrier that's not going to let go of the ball called you're here. For you, to get you where you want to go. I am interested in the empowerment of individual and collective creativity. And they are not opposites. But we can empower you collectively. Let's call it grow, even though that could be a difficult term anyway, as well as individual. Very, very important. And that's the mission. And if there are obstacles to that, tell me. Tell the other staff. Because that's why we are here. To make this offer that enables you to start shaping it together. Okay, one more Star Wars thing, and I promise it's finished. I did have to check online how do you make Yoda-like sentences out of something you would say, but if you make music you must, and unknown embrace you must. Simple out. You want to be a songwriter? Guess what? You're going to write songs. You're going to do a lot of other stuff, you need to be writing songs. So whatever the core thing is, maybe we can be less precious about it, and just do it, test it aloud, do repetition, and more on that. It's important to forget, to actually not forget the fundamental. And the second thing, unknown embrace we must. Growth really doesn't happen in development normally from a comfort zone. So back to body analogies. I once had it, was once fit, a long time ago, not anymore. And in those days when I went to, the fitness came from, I went to classes where someone pushed me beyond where I could possibly think that we can go. And they call out, I'm going to press ups, and you think, sure, we finished at 50 because we finished last time, but we didn't stop at 100. And in fact, actually, that was Saario, we went up to 200. Felt sick, blah, 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 whatever. But we went somewhere that hadn't been. What tends to happen when we feel unknown? I want to go somewhere where I know. This feels too loose, too free, too intense. So what I'm asking you, if it starts feeling, what's this? Great. That's where you need to be. That's where you need to be. Even needs to stop it for a few moments there. It's like, we're not used to this. Can we just sometimes let those things be? Anyone who's into Alexander technique or who have done Alexander techniques, one of the fundamental principles is that you cannot trust your own perceptions of how things are in relation to when you get aligned, etc. So really, really important. Embrace the unknown. And guess what? You can't go home. Oh my God, the foreign man touched me, he's told me I can't go home. Yes, you can go home, but it's not the same anymore. Something's happened to you. Something's happened to whatever home was. And it might not be. That idea isn't the same anymore because you've been here. Studio K next time is not the same Studio K as now. Very important things to pass. Maybe or not. Or not, when you just go. We've got a lot of threats, but I'm thinking I'm going to talk about a couple of ones that might be helpful to identify now. Distraction. External distraction. I got a PhD in music and composition and stuff, but I definitely also have a PhD in distracting myself. Different people distract themselves in different ways. I'm one of those people, when things start going really well, I start distracting myself, as opposed to when it's really difficult, doesn't really happen. It can be, what I'm saying is, you are a generation unlike any before, independent of your age, where you are engaging with so much stimuli from so many different sources that continually want to take you sideways. And those sideways connections are really powerful, like partially hopefully trying to keep you some of that sense from my constellation analogies and each other. And there's times where you gotta go, what is it I'm doing? We need to go down at times, turn around, borrowing from sort of an IT hacker idea. We are cutting the other distractions out so that we can focus on what it is we are doing. Sometimes we distract ourselves, sometimes we allow other people to distract ourselves. We say yes to them as opposed to we say no. Why? Because this is complex and this is a lifelong journey. The simpler you make it, the easier it works. And the thing that really helped me, this is the recording studio on a session in Finland many years ago. There was an artist who came, a producer who came over from Sweden, and somehow this topic came up. And this person said to me, he lives by this very simple rule. If I have a choice of A and B or A, B and C, which one of them gets me closer to my goal, their goal being I'm doing more music and making better music. Nothing else. That doesn't mean that we don't do our dishes and all that stuff, because that's part of the bigger picture. Very important to be thinking what are the threats and the challenges to stop sort of interruption and be distracted. Other thing, new thing, keeping notes. You simply cannot retain the amount of information that you will have access to. And sometimes they're just notes in a session and something just happened to go. I need to remember that. Write it down, or put it in your phone, or whatever cool gadget I don't even understand that you have. Use it. Don't assume that there's some kind of like magic device that's going to hopefully help you remember this. And because this is hard. You'll be losing what's out if you don't take time to take notes and then review them. And more on that I will be when we're talking about sessions around so-called core technique. And then whenever you get panicked or down, stop and then trying to think about the overview. Hold on, what's happening? What am I panicking about exactly? Talk to your tutors, etc. And trying to get some kind of order back into things. And normally we get freaked out by stuff we don't know. Because we imagine, all that performance or whatever, we imagine the worst more than we're willing to go and experience it and then reflect on it and then turn it into an experiential thing. The most important things that I've so far learned in certain music making and engineering from my primary practices in the studio have unfortunately, in one way, been through major mess ups, like really embarrassing stuff. And then I thought to myself, that will never happen again. And it wasn't always a simple thing then to fix, but it was, I will never, ever, 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 ever misread the score to Pink Panther when I'm performing with a big band. Or I will never, 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 ever again go and do the sound check properly when I'm recording the last orchestra and sitting in the Birmingham because I was too arrogant to do so. So sometimes you have to fall flat to get back up. If anyone get an open day, I had a picture of a wave, there's pictures on surfing, and I said, you can't learn to surf without getting wet. And everyone who surfs knows that. You somehow think, oh, I'm going to be an amazing vocalist without ever falling off my vocal very broad analogy thing, so to speak. It's okay to fall off the board, because if you're not surfing. Quotation mark. Anyway, our final note on that is some of the latest research into interruptions, in fact, is to do with, is more to do with how quickly you recover from interruption as opposed to being to block out things. So if you get interrupted, normal, great. If you get scared, great. It's safe to be afraid. I'm very unknown. And I'm nearly popping up back into the normal sort of normal way. So the key thing is, despite all this amazing sonic stuff happening in the air here, I can't read minds, and as far as I know, none of my other colleagues can read minds as of yet. If there's an issue, let us know. Now I remember what I was trying to say about the personal versus professional. say, missed half of the lecture series, don't ever do this. I can't go there and now tell them because they will think this and this and this and that. Because then it becomes easy, I can bury my self further into the hole. No, doesn't matter. And if something's happened, we haven't been in touch, get in touch. If you know something's going to happen, get in touch. We can then advise what's the best way in doing this scenario. Why? Because that's what we're here. It's a common journey for each and every one. So, if that was painful, let's call it space pressure, it's over. Now back to really nuts and bolts. Music, subject area, the martyr, mechanical and nuclear guitar. These are the people who primarily work in head of subject. That's me. We have 3 course leaders. We have 4 different courses. We have substantive lecturers part. You'll be assigned a personal tutor. You'll meet later on this week, I think Thursday afternoon, and they'll be with you in this year. And then next year, you get a different personal tutor in year 3. We have technical staff and building staff. We have administrative team. We bring tutors from outside who are paid effectively to come and deliver certain sessions, so they are not here permanently in the office. They work just on very specific sessions. We bring assistant lecturers and guests. We have the large student advisors who will be able to advise you on challenges, the student journey, etc. And who might automatically, by the way, monitor engagement. And if there's a sense of someone hasn't been engaging with the learning space or they haven't been to the sessions, they get in touch to check, are you okay? That's why we get in touch with you. Are you okay? It's not because, you haven't been here X number, you missed X number of sessions. It's not to give you a hard time. It's trying to figure out what can be done that you can engage in the session. Because that's why we're here. Very importantly here, it's you and your peers. Make any opportunities where you can. And in some cases, it's just one person. Some cases, like, I need a lot of people around, whatever it is, or even if it is, I'm totally lone wolf. And you go, fine, great. Bring that energy here, because that's what this is about. Okay. And then there's, of course, all the right just so you know, Dr. D. Fred, hopefully we'll meet her on tomorrow, is the course leader for popular music, Simon Poole for the MA in music business, master students. I'm also covering this year the course leader position for anyone who's doing a music course, and then Dr. Saario for the creative music technology is the course leader. These are other staff that are the so-called substantive staff who live in the staff office in the lab building. I'm sure you will look behind the academic reception. We have 180. So we have staff of 9 people there. We met Paul, we met James and Tams in the previous session. Oops, sorry, Dave, I should change. It's not Sally, it's in our student advisor anymore. Technical facilities managers and management, whilst they're not based in the Malta, we're also getting to the library to do induction sessions to our subject librarian. And she's very excited to always hear what they say, oh, have you heard of this? Could we get that? Don't see the library as like a closed archive or something. There's a dynamic thing that you can request. I'm not expecting you to take this in, that's the technical team, just in this area. 5 people led by Paul in the stores which are booking our equipment, and straight after my session, Paul and Ollie are going to come and talk to the CMT students about how the system works. The music students hopefully do have this session later in the week, and then Pete heads the other team technicians, etc. All of the staff, the music staff, the software staff, etc., will have office hours. They're online. And you can book them every week. You will find the details and staff email signatures, as well as the place in the learning space, and we engage a lot. And you can book office hours with anyone. It doesn't have to be a personal tutor or module leader. The module leaders are the staff who need a given module to be working. The core leader session will cover this again. So, this week, the United States Directors welcome, my welcome. We have tomorrow the course inductions. As I said, introduction to Falmouth stores for CMT in the morning by